Welcome back. We are doing the Words of Radiance.
We finally got to it. We took a little bit of a break.
That's what I was going to say. Okay. I am so excited that we are back to this because...
Back to the Stormlight Archive.
Oh, man. We loved The Way of Kings Part 1.
Yep.
Part 1. This is the book of Way of Kings. And now we are in Words of Radiance. Mm-hmm. And every single chapter I've been reading this book, I almost say out loud to myself every time, this is why I love this book. This book is just so
There's
good.
some moment in every single piece.
It really is. I think it's all, we've done all the building. We know who all the characters are from The Way of Kings. We're past that. But now we're in this book.
Now we're growing. Individual characters are starting to grow and change.
Yep. But now we're in this book, and all of these characters that we come to know and love, we get to have them again, but we get to see their interactions with other characters that we haven't seen before. Like the Dalinar interactions, the Adolin interactions with Kaladin crack me up every single time.
Oh, they continue to get better and better the whole way.
So good. It's spoiler for my review on this book, but this is one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite. It's probably the favorite book out of all out of all the Stormlight Archive books.
Oh.
Almost got me there. But
almost got you.
I just love it. I don't know. What were your thoughts jumping back into this book?
My overall thoughts were how much I loved it's just the Stormlight, the fantasy magic element of the entire Stormlight Archive. How it all works. I think it culminates really well in book 4. But I think Words of Radiance and talking about the Knights Radiant, learning more about them, learning more about the powers. I think it's really cool. Sigsil's let's figure things out. Let's get your powers understood. I think that just that element of just not only are we learning about the magic system, but the characters are as well.
And is it not so cool to read about Sigil after just having read The Sunlit Man?
It is so cool. It is so cool.
So cool. It's the hardest part about it for me, and you didn't listen to the audio for The Sunlit Man.
No.
But since they're two different voices, they feel like completely different people because of the different readers of the book.
Oh.
And so it's really funny.
Because that wouldn't be something that they would have coordinated.
No. Well, how can you make the same voice as someone else anyways?
Maybe you can. These voice actors do cool stuff.
They're talented, okay? I'll give you that. And actually, I want to jump into that. The readers here. So I'm a big fan of Michael Kramer. But I actually was a big fan of the way that Kate Reading... Love Kate Reading's last name, by the way. Super appropriate for
makes a lot of sense.
Audiobook reader. But the way she reads Pattern's voice is one of my favorite things in this book.
Lies.
Yeah. I can't remember. It's just always just makes Pattern the coolest guy ever.
My wife says that all the time. It's so
she
funny.
says
she's getting into the book too. She's
lies. Truth, death.
His whole character is so funny.
I love that your wife quotes that. That is hilarious.
It's funny.
I want to do that all the time too. I just walk around. I'm lies.
She's just walking around saying it. But
there are moments of books that do that.
There are great moments to say it.
Another book that does that is for me is the 3-body problem.
Oh
yes, the whole rehydrate. It's just so awesome, dude.
We need to do a review on 3-body problem.
I think we will.
Why haven't we done that yet?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's a great book. I'm in the middle of reading book 2 right now, and it's phenomenal. So,
but there's so much Cosmere to read. But I still want to do a review. Oh,
we'll get it.
Tricky.
We'll find a way in.
That's tricky.
We'll find a way to get it in.
Okay, we'll figure it out. But so many people have recommended that we dive straight into Words of Radiance, which we already had, which is the funny part.
Yeah.
These comments were we've already started reading it.
Yeah.
The reaction videos, just like this one, are coming up.
Yes.
But it's so much fun. I love it.
Oh, I love it too. So I've really been enjoying this book, and so this book jumps into a very familiar place that we've already been with The Way of Kings. Mm-hmm. It jumps right into the assassination of Gavilar again, but from a new point of view, and we see it with Yasna.
Yep.
And Yasna's point of view, I caught lots of things here that I did not catch the first time.
Yep.
And I will say it reminded me that I actually really like Yasna as a character. I think she's so fascinating, dude. And I love how she's super smart and all these things. I love smart people in books. It's one of my favorite things to read about. I'm like, ooh, how can I be smart like that person?
You really need to read Artemis Fowl. I don't know why.
Really?
We'll get there.
Gosh,
we'll get there.
It's like that one guy in the comments section thought I needed to do that too.
It's so good.
For you two, I will do it.
You should. And you'll enjoy it so much.
But she first notices her shadow going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And she's like, it's happening again. And it's so freaky. And I don't know what's up with Yasna's Spren and Shallan's Spren that decide to be so creepy when they introduce themselves. Like Kaladin's is all like playful, like I'm a wind Spren. I'm like stick your shoe to the ground and laugh at you, like. But like Yasna's like it looks like a horror movie. Like she's getting like
it's like show up, hi.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh, dude. So I don't know.
But I think it's interesting how her character really is I don't know, exemplified. What's the word for it? It doesn't matter that much. But when she goes into Shadesmar for the first time, she's like, I'm not going to back down. Yeah. Fine. If I die here right now, it's whatever. Like, I'm not backing away. Like the person with the sword is like standing right in front of her. She's like, do whatever you want. And the guy like hesitates. He's like, that's weird.
Yeah. Yep.
Wasn't expecting that.
It's because Yasna's awesome, okay?
She is.
She's super intimidating
fearless.
when she wants to be it. Like, yeah. I thought that was cool too. I loved that part.
It's pretty exciting. And that honestly is a cool parallel because that's what you get to see with Shallan's first encounter. Well, she had her first encounter in the last book. We talked about it a lot. But it's just like she's terrified. She's no idea what's going on. She doesn't have, and neither of them had experience in that, right? Like Shadesmar was brand new to them.
Yeah.
But they just saw it so differently. I think that's cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And they both had like that crazy experience. There were some other crazy parts in that first scene. Like, first of all, I don't know why I didn't catch it the first time. Yasna wants to kill/watch Ellikar's wife. She's like trying to hire an assassin during that whole scene to kill Ellikar's wife. But then she just backs off of it and says, actually, I just want you to watch her. You're not remembering this.
Well, why do you say Ellikar's wife like that? Now I'm confused.
What do you mean like that? It was Ellikar's wife that she was trying to...
Navani?
No, not Ellikar.
Oh,
it's Navani's son. You're talking Gavilar.
Oh, yes.
No,
okay.
Yeah, Ellikar's wife.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, Navani, that's not even the right person.
Ellikar is the son of Navani. Yes.
Okay. And like her mom? Like, that's
no,
not right.
No,
that's not right at all. So her
yeah.
sister-in-law, basically.
Yeah, her sister-in-law.
Yeah, okay. And I'm like, I don't think we read the same book. Okay.
No. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I got that right.
Okay,
like
yes. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty crazy. And the person that she's hiring has a shard blade, which is pretty crazy that they're assassin shard bearers.
Yeah.
Liss is her name. So, I don't know.
Pretty intense. Well, because she apparently is connected to the entire underground based on that scene.
Yeah.
She talks about like, my agreement with all the assassins. They like come to me first and I'll pay the same amount and say, don't kill me.
Yeah, seriously.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
But
yeah, so I just thought that
play later.
Whole scene was just absolutely crazy. I don't know. And the whole thing with Ellikar's wife, we don't really learn anything about her until way later. I think not until like the third book.
You think it's that long?
I think
so. It's just a little snippet. He throws a snippet in the beginning of the second book. You don't even
learn something weird's going on with her already. Like
that's wild. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, learned a lot.
So those are all the things that I thought were pretty crazy in the opening scene. Besides, the other part was the Parshendi admitting to Yasna, like we killed the king, like in their sing-songy creepy voice.
Kind of weird.
Yeah, it's just like,
I never liked listening to that, but
yeah, and it's like we did it. It was us, and they just admitted so readily to that. And I'm still trying to understand why they did that.
My assumption at this point in the book is just the fact that they consider war to be a better alternative to their gods returning.
Yes. And that's what they say in the interludes
exactly
as much.
What they say. It's just like it has to be war. Like that's the only way.
But did they have to admit to killing?
That's what would start the war. Otherwise, they wouldn't start a war.
But I thought that killing Gavilar is what they thought would help prevent it from happening.
I think there's probably multiple facets to it. I don't think they were completely in agreement, the elders of the Parshendi.
Yeah, I don't think we know everything that's going on.
But they give you that snippet right at the beginning. We're still in the prologue.
I know, it's like right there.
It's pretty cool.
So I thought that was pretty crazy. So then it continues on, and I think it jumps back into the world of Kaladin and
we start with
and
Shallan.
Dalinar and everything. Oh, it does go to Shallan first because that was the last thing I wanted to mention.
She's on the
here.
boat.
They're trying to figure things out because Shallan's had some interesting interactions with Yasna, but Yasna's all of a sudden super interested in Shallan, working with her because she's got some powers that the old Radiance may have had. But I also thought it was kind of a little bit of abrupt how Yasna goes from "you're the worst person for trying to steal from me and everything" to you should marry my cousin. Like I don't know. It was kind of a big jump for me.
She's a very calculated person. And I think she realizes the importance of what she's working on, and she knows that she's becoming a Radiant, and she's like, this is huge and absolutely massive. And then she sees Shallan with the same ability. She's like, you know what? None of that matters. Like, we got to figure this out right now. We have no time.
And it's almost like marrying into royalty to be able to be married to a Radiant, you think?
Yeah. Well, I think she almost wants to just keep Shallan close.
Yeah.
She's like, you know what? That's best case scenario for me.
Yeah. That's kind of what cousins. I got too. And I kind of bought it by the end of the chapter. I'm like, okay, I guess I can see it. But it still felt a little like whoa. Like you're just going to let this random girl come and marry your cousin, who is like one of the most powerful men in all of Roshar.
Yep.
Like, it is, I don't know. I thought that was nuts.
It is wild. But then again, she knows that as a Radiant, she'd want to be one of the most powerful people in all of Roshar as well. So she's like, you know what? Maybe this will work out. And you got to think, she's a couple of steps ahead here in everything. So it makes sense to me.
Well, and I think the last thing I have to say about Yasna, and I want to get your thoughts on this. What did you think about her whole lesson about trying to perceive creating your own perception of yourself?
Oh, I saved this as a highlight too.
Okay, cool.
Because I was like, I love when she talks about just like power, like given and implied, basically. She's like, there's the power that you have for like money. There's the power you have for status or title. But there's also the power you have just in the way that you exist. Like there's a power to just someone who exudes confidence, someone who exudes like, I'm here because I'm supposed to be here and I deserve to be here. I think that's just, there's so many things that you can parallel that to in life.
Yes.
It's just awesome. I think one of the things that, I don't know, maybe it's a weird example, but it's the first one that I thought of. Like when you first get to like start working out and you go to the gym for the first time, you're just like, dang, there's like 1,000 machines here. There's a bunch of people who are just like scary. It's a scary place. You're like, I just want to like not be in anyone's way. I don't want anyone to bother me. Like you get to a certain point after like multiple years of like just going every day. You're like, I know exactly what I'm doing here and no one's going to tell me otherwise. Like I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm here for. I know what machines I'm going to use. If so, like I'm not going to be in other people's way. I'm not going to bother other people, but I'm like, no one can tell me that I don't deserve to be here. And that's like such an element of, you just waltz in. You're like, you're not worried. You're not self-conscious about stuff. You're just like, I'm just rolling up to do what I need to do, and I'm going to make it happen. And I think that gives off so much more confidence in general.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I think there are people who make YouTube videos all about this, too.
Really?
Like, yeah. Well, they're funny ones. I've heard of like people like, it's like, you'd be amazed at how many places you can get into from just wearing like a cap, like a construction cap, and carrying a ladder. I guess he has videos of him just getting into all sorts of just crazy places because people just don't even question him. Like,
I bet you could get in all kinds of like stadiums for games and stuff. You just walk right in.
I know, it's so funny, dude. We do not condone this. It's not for us.
It's pretty hilarious.
But if you do it, tell us about your experience.
You think anyone's done it before that's going to comment about it?
I know, dude. I doubt it. But that YouTuber did it, and
they always say that the heists, they're always like, we need laundry person uniforms, or we need mailman uniforms. Like apparently you just get these, but
I know, I'm not surprised though. Like with the way that people like don't question anything. Like,
well, yeah, no one wants to confront anyone.
No.
So it's like if you're the person who walks in with confidence, similar to what Yasin is saying, if you're the person who walks in and you're like, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. And then a lot of people are like, I'm not going to confront that. I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, do whatever you want to do kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So Yasna would be able to get into.
It's a good part. I really like her elements, how she describes that too.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Shallan tries it and it works.
It does. That's how she gets into the water.
Yep.
To look at the Santhid,
which saves her life.
Yes, it does. That is very cool.
So that confidence boost was pretty influential.
I actually thought the whole Santhid scene was very cool. Like, it was a very fun world building part.
But that was one of the things where I'm like, the like mind's eye was just like glitching out a little bit. I'm like, I don't know quite what it looks like. Like I see the tentacles and the eye and all that stuff. I want to see the drawing.
Yeah, there's
because I don't have the physical book for Words of Radiance. I'm just doing this all in my mind. Yeah, that's it.
In your mind's eye.
Yep.
The true. Eye of a Santhid. Yeah.
Gotta find it. Once you find it, I'll take a look. But I think that is one of the things that I would love to see as an actual picture.
I know. I just thought that whole scene was amazing. It just seems like a massive creature and everything. And also, this is like random thought. Like she talks about like little arrows darting back and forth in the water, like when she's looking in the water.
Yeah.
And there's got to be Spren.
Yes.
Spren. I wonder if those are current spren. Like
Current spren?
Yeah, like spren for like the current of the water, like which way direction the water is moving.
That would be wild.
Yeah, but it's because like they have wind spren, right? Like wind like moves in different directions.
Really
so why not have like a?
That's a really good theory.
Yeah,
current spren.
I know. I thought I was like, what are the arrows? Like it's got to be like the current of the water. Like it's just.
That would be really cool.
I know.
That would actually be a really good question for one of those like Q&As, Brandon Sanderson.
I know. We did add it to the list. I don't know if I'm going to go find it. I'll have to show you another time.
It's so disappointing.
I know. I could have sworn I've seen it in here.
If it's not in, what if it's not in there and you just have that good of an imagination?
There it is. It only shows the... Oh, no. It shows everything there. So
okay, let's see.
You
this is
show
the big
it to everyone.
Reveal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here, I'll see if I can get it close enough that you guys can see.
Yeah. So you can see the whole Santhid as a whole on the top, but then you can also see its eye as well. Like how?
Oh, this is like her drawing, probably.
Yeah.
So you got the ship with the Santhid next to it.
Oh, does it have arrow spren in there too?
These are the little spren next to the fish. And they're probably swimming.
Those are probably just the fish that she was wondering if he was feeding off of the.
No, I'm saying these little spren on the inside. Anyway,
yeah.
Santhid got the big eye, got the tentacle, so it almost looks like a turtle. But that is the weirdest. It's a weird thing, man.
Dude, that is super cool, though.
That is cool. It's cool that they added that picture because that was something that was kind of hard for me to interpret.
I know, now you know. It honestly just has looks like a turtle with like a big eye on the side of it. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy.
That's pretty wild.
I wonder if it ever gets poked.
By those little fish.
I know. They're like, will you stop that? That's why he comes to the boat. It's like, poke the boat, not me.
Exactly what happens.
That's exactly.
You just know.
Oh, so are we? What part of the book are you trying to listen to?
Well, I accidentally clicked on a chapter, so I tried to move it away from the mic.
I'm just kidding. Oh, so but then from there, I don't know if do you have more Shallan stuff that you wanted to chat about, or I guess she did land on the.
She ended up.
Oh yeah, dude. There's a huge. What am I talking? Is there anything else? Like probably like the most monumental Shallan moments.
Assassination.
The most monumental Shallan moments of the whole like series so far.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. What did you think?
Crazy. First of all,
we're not going to spoil anything, by the way, for later books. We've decided, but like we'll try to talk.
But we're
going
to spoil part 1 of this book.
Yes, everything. Part 1 up to this book to everything behind it. So,
okay, that works for me. Yeah. But yeah, so we know that someone came and killed Jasnah.
Yes, which was that not the most shocking thing when I first read this book? I was like, we are like, what, 3 chapters into this thing?
He's killing people
off? They killed Jasnah just when she started getting cool. And
and you learn more about her.
Yeah,
like,
she's about to teach you everything about the Radiance and like all these things that Shallan can do, about Shadesmar and like soul casting, and just dead. It's unbelievable.
Crazy. And it happens so fast, too.
Oh, Sanderson will do that to you, dude.
But it's the first time where we learn that Shallan can lightweave.
Yeah. Well, we learned it a little bit before then, too, when she turns the deck green.
That's true, but not even she really understood what was happening there. Mm-hmm. I guess Jasnah explains it a bit.
Yeah.
But
do we as readers understand what's going on yet?
She creates like this visage, whatever, of herself running out of the room, and they follow it.
Yeah.
Because it takes all the light, I think, with it.
Yeah, well, the
they
light
can't
from
see
the...
her because she's in darkness
from
after.
From the stormlight from the spheres.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, it goes out with light so they can see it.
Yeah.
And then they follow it, and she's saved.
Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Waited till the moment she absolutely needed it.
Yep. And then she soul casts the boat into water.
And it was hard.
Yeah.
I think she learned a lot about what soul casting inherently is. And it's like, you're actually convincing, like, it's a negotiation with the actual essence of the boat to say, no, you have to become water.
This is where...
And it's like, no, I'm a boat. Speaking of which.
I know. Well, this is where this book gets so fascinating because Jasnah starts to try to explain that there are 3 realms. Mm-hmm. There's the physical realm, there's the cognitive realm, and there's the spiritual realm. Mm-hmm. And the cognitive realm is where all the Sprem come from, and that's where Shadesmar is and where the boat was at, where she was trying to convince it. But that comes from... It was created by the thoughts of like men, of humans.
Yeah.
And so therefore... that would mean that the boat has like its own like thought of like what humans have thought of it as. And so you have to like convince it to a different thought. It's created
its own essence.
Yeah. And like when you think about it like that, it's kind of mind-blowing.
How do you convince it that like, oh, I've been told I'm a boat. I've been treated as a boat. Everyone's thought about me as a boat. All this cognitive pressure has been put on me to say that I'm a boat.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, be water.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to.
Yeah. And then her ultimate convincing was like, well, your idea is not that you're a boat, is that your idea is to serve.
Yep.
And
they're dying.
And so the next thing to do to serve them is to turn into water.
Yep.
Which was crazy.
Pretty wild. And it works.
Yep.
But then we find when she rolls up, she's rescued by the Santhid.
Mm-hmm.
Takes her to the island. And we encounter one of probably the most powerful beings in the entire Cosmere. The stick.
The stick.
Which could not be changed by Shallan nor her Stormlight.
No.
Because the stick is a stick. To the end.
Even more than that stick, that boat being a boat, that stick is a stick.
That stick will always be a stick.
Yeah.
And it is a great stick. Probably. The best stick.
And she left it there.
She left it there. The stick still exists on that island somewhere.
It probably would have told her about Groot. And just kidding.
You never know.
I don't. The whole time I'm reading this
crossover episode of all time.
But these books were written before the.
That's true. Words of Radiance was 2014.
Before, Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah. Probably.
So it's totally ripped straight out of Sanderson. Like, I am Groot. I am a stick.
Well, unless that does come from the original Stan Lee, which I'm assuming it does.
Nope.
Maybe. You're big on the whole Stan Lee legacy
You're
stuff.
right. You're dude.
I do think that's a cool nuance, and I love that all the Sanderson fans have taken such care to that stick.
That's because it's huge.
We even got
he's probably a Ghost Blood.
Dude, he probably started the Ghost Bloods.
I know.
That's what we're waiting for.
He participated for. Yes, participated in the killing of Yasna.
Dude, you're gonna go into Shadesmar and realize that his essence is just huge. It's just like none shall pass style.
Like, dude, what's the matter? You're a stick. Like, why do you think you're so big?
Just the cognitive power of that stick is truly impressive, and it deserved the couple of minutes of the podcast that it got.
It was great. We love the stick. Big fans of the stick.
But that does, and she goes on her journey with what is essentially the slavers, the merchants that are basically slavers.
They are slavers.
And she uses the things that she learned from Yasna to convince them to say, nope, I'm the best, and you're taking me to the Shattered Plains. And that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
Incredible. You're like, they should have just robbed her.
They should have robbed her?
You're saying based on their...
Well, I know. It's just funny. Like I would have just robbed her.
I'm not saying me.
I'm just kidding.
But I do think that based on their characterization, they probably would have anticipated that. And it seemed like they were a little off, but they're like, well, this isn't what we're planning on doing. Or they're like, no, the confidence, just get in there. You're in charge. Make it happen. It was cool. It worked.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And yet another example of, I actually do think this is something you could apply in real life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
in a good way, in a responsible, not manipulative kind of a way.
Well, this is like, I kind of grew up like doing this as well. Because I moved a lot from like place to place.
Yeah.
And I love to joke around and everything. But like sometimes like you get like a little too funny, and then people like stop taking you seriously. And so like what you do is like you don't like go like all like completely Yasta like all the way like nope. but like you start handling yourself like in a little bit more serious way than just the joking way, and then people start handling you a little bit more seriously, and so you can really shape the way that people perceive you and the way that you act. It's
you
like
kind of put your perception into the world, and then it comes back to you and like what people understand.
If you're going to act like a total goof all the time, people are going to think you're a total goof. But if you are able to throw yourself in there and be more serious and like have I'm going to have smart conversations because I see myself as a smart person or like whatever.
Well, that even happens along more like if you're always late to stuff, people are like, this guy's always going to be late. Like, he doesn't take this seriously. He doesn't take the schedule we had seriously. It just is what it is. Mm-hmm. Like, you can change that. You can change that perception over time. But maybe it's related to the whole cognitive realm thing.
I know, dude. I was thinking about the cognitive realm too.
If you put your like what everyone thinks about you, whether that be right or wrong, it becomes almost like its own. The perception of you becomes your reputation, which is its own type of thing. Yeah. Like you and your reputation almost exist in tandem because people treat you based on your reputation, not necessarily based on who you are.
It's so cool. The whole idea of having like not only like our world uses a bunch of metaphors for like what people are and what things are. Yeah. Sanderson's like, I'm going to turn those metaphors into actual things and put it in a world. Like, it's just
I do
really
love
cool.
that. The
it's
spren,
cool.
the whole concept of it is freaking cool.
Like, what does it have? Like the anticipation spren, like flying in the sky and stuff like that. And like it. And
wild.
Yeah,
All kinds of spren. Like, but Yasna mentions this. There are spren based on essences and there are spren based on emotion.
Yeah.
Was it Yasna who mentioned that? It was someone.
It had to have been Yasna. She was kind of talking about it.
It has to be. But yeah, she's talking about like there's fire and flame spren. There's rot spren. You know, all those things. But there's also the like glory spren. They're like just conceptual ideas. And I think that's a very interesting nuance. Like there's different types of spren. I wonder if they have their own like hierarchy of I'm a real thing. I'm kind of more of an idea.
And it makes me... oh, yeah. Well, then we also learned that there's like honor spren and then there's like normal spren. Is there a difference?
I think honor spren just think of themselves as better than everybody else. I think that's the general rule.
But I was kind of wondering if like the spren that are of honor are the only ones that can make Radiance, any of the 10 orders. I'm not sure about that though.
I don't think so.
You don't think cryptics are honor spren too?
No.
Okay. They're not of honor at all?
I don't think so.
Where do they get their power from?
We got to write this down so we remember to think
I know,
about
dude.
it for the
Where do
rest
they
of the
get their
book.
power? I just
Somebody
don't know.
knows.
Yeah.
Everyone in the comment section always educates us on the
I
things
know.
that we
They
don't
always
know.
tell
And that's
us.
one thing that we don't know.
We actually love that. Keep them coming. We want to hear
Yeah,
everything.
let us know what that actually means and whether they all have to be honor related
Yep.
to make Radiance. I don't know.
But yeah,
I don't think so. I'm going to say no.
I think their powers
My
gotta come
official
from somewhere.
vote is no.
It's too much of a spoiler to get into why I think that, but like
We'll get there.
yeah, we'll
We
get
will.
there
We
eventually.
will.
Probably in book 3, to be honest. So it'll be a while.
What a good book. Probably should be number 1. Eh?
I don't think so. Okay. Almost. Okay. Well, I'm excited to get to that reread. We'll see if anything changes. Okay. So we got to jump into the Kaladin
We have
scenes.
to.
We got to get there because honestly, Kaladin's my favorite of the whole story.
Which is why best for last.
Yeah, no. Who's not like who doesn't have Kaladin as their favorite? Maybe besides like Dalinar.
Dalinar is really high up there.
His
though.
backstory is
especially as you get further into the books.
oh man,
my goodness,
you can't beat that.
Okay,
but yeah, let's hear it.
Kaladin is doing a lot at this point. Like he almost feels like he jumps into new situations that he can barely handle all the time.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that I was talking to my wife about as far as like analyzing the books. And it's like it feels like every time he is like broken down, he like recovers stronger and then is thrown into another impossible situation. And one of those is the fact that he has to lead this entire battalion of people that have no idea what they're doing. First of all, no experience, but also he has to guard Dalinar and his family with his like number 1 recruits. Again, people that have been trained for like a month, like no time at all of actual military
That part
training.
blows my mind.
And they're protecting the High Prince
and
of
the
war,
king.
and now the king.
Yeah.
And then he's also got 1,000 bridgemen that he has to somehow train into a battalion. That's just absolutely insane to me. Like so much power, and he's a captain now.
Yeah. I
Crazy. Even the king was like, "Wait, he can't be a captain." And Dalinar's like, "I do whatever the heck I want."
Yeah, I know. Well, even Kaladin says as much. Like, kind of looks like Dalinar thinks he's king. Like,
He does. He basically does.
he does.
Let's be honest.
And we all want him to be the king. He's
That's
the king
the truth.
we needed.
Yeah, he is absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And so it's been fun, just all the reminiscing over the first book that they have in the second book. I love the obsession of the whole crew with the whole idea of Bridge 4.
Yes.
They're like we are Bridge 4. Like, why in the world do you want to be remembered as Bridge 4?
That's the worst thing ever.
It was the worst thing that happened to us in our lives. Like, and like, what did they say? They said that they see it as an experience that they wouldn't have traded for anything.
Yeah, which is crazy. Like,
Whoa.
people died and got injured and
Yeah.
were in pain, and it's terrible.
Oh my gosh, like it sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that there are some things in life that you have to go through in order to get to where like your next spot and to be able to
And
learn.
they became stronger for it, having survived and made it through. Like, their character is stronger.
Yes.
Which I think is what makes them so trustworthy.
I love that. And then all the fun traditions they uphold still, like Rock still's got to make the soup.
But
They're
now he
making
has
their
all
own
the food that he
insignias.
wants to make.
Yeah.
They cut off the insignias. You're right. That's cool.
And then even like everywhere Kaladin goes, like even other soldiers are calling him Stormblessed now and making like the Bridge 4 like
Just
like,
crazy
symbols.
Like there are a lot of light eyes who are like, you don't tell me what to do. It's like there's that awkward, social construct of like you can't be a captain, or some people don't think you should be a captain, but he's making it. He's like, what I love. I don't know if it's near the end, but he basically says like, he promoted me to captain, and that comes with certain privileges. And until he tells me that I don't have them, that's what I'm going to take. And it's cool. He's like, yeah, I'm doing this because he said, he didn't say I couldn't. and that's what I'm gonna do. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I love that. I just think it's great, and it's fun that Kaladin is kind of interesting. His character, how he feels like he can jump in on the king's conversations. Like, what? Can you believe that? It was so bold. I forgot that he did stuff like that. I'm like, ooh, dude, I don't know if I would have done that.
He just got promoted, buddy. Like yesterday, maybe even today.
I know, depending on when the book takes place.
It's just crazy that he's that forward. But he's honestly, he's always been confident.
Yep.
You know, he's always been like, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I'm going to jump into this and make it better. And he has some good ideas, but like you said, I would be so scared to jump in and be like, I just don't have the context. Like, what am I missing here? There's got to be something that, like, maybe they talked about before, and they're like, my idea they already talked about.
I'm going to make myself look like an idiot by saying yeah. Well, and then that part, there were several parts I laughed out loud with this book, just because it's, again, the interactions between characters we have met already, getting to know each other. One of my favorite parts is when Dalinar tells his team, he's like, I am going to refound the Knight's Radiance. And then Kaladin nearly drops his spear. He's like, what?
Like, oh no, he knows.
He knows. I just thought it was this whole book is just so enjoyable. The whole time I am just cannot wait to get to the next page, the next minute in the book. Like, and like I said, I literally laugh out loud with like joy for like most of these parts of the book. I am just loving it. Like, it is so fun.
It's so exciting. It's fun to see his arc of character, and like he just builds into this. He's like, yeah, you can trust me. And it's just weird that Dalinar's like, I don't know why, but I really trust this guy.
Yep. which is awesome.
And he in turn trusts his men just completely. And they do a great job. Like they're really assuming this role well. And it's hard. It's a hard job. They have like shifts in the middle of the night, and they're like, just do it. And I think that's sweet. They're awesome. And they finally get the rest of the bridge crews to train. They take them down into the shattered plains, whatever the...
into the chasms.
Into the chasms. Yeah. And they're like, it's worth the risk because we got to get these people out of their shells, you know?
Yep.
And it worked.
Yeah, I thought that was great too.
Which is the first time we saw Rock fight.
Yes, and this is something that I was going to mention. So this occurred to me. So Sanderson announced that he's going to have a book called Horn Eater come out at some point. And I am wondering, so he always says, like, it's like, you're an air-sick lowlander. You can't see the Sprend because of too much air.
Yep.
I feel like we're going to get to that book, and, like, you're going to be able to see Sprend because they're so much higher in elevation.
Can all the
Makabaki
like see?
I don't know.
Sprend?
That's where I'm kind of wondering if it's because of them, which is most likely. But it would be funny if there actually was something to be there being too much air. Like
that would be interesting.
It would be so funny.
There's going to be a lot to that story, and I think the fact that he's waiting to write it, like Sanderson's waiting to write it, is going to make it even better.
Yeah.
So probably so much will occur in just the lore of the Stormlight Archive and Roshar between now and then that it'll just throw it into that book.
Yeah, we just need to. Yeah, we'll love to hear.
But what did he say? Like 2027 or something? That he's expecting to write it, and he hasn't even guaranteed
could
that.
Could even be 2028.
Holy cow.
It's a long way. So
there's a lot of Cosmere that we still have to explore.
I know, but that's all. We talk about that some more in detail in our State of Sanderson discussion for 2023. If you haven't seen that
yet, it's on the channel already.
Check it out.
Definitely
it's good conversation. But yes, so Rock does fight. That was pretty incredible. While Kaladin is testing his abilities.
Trying to fight with his abilities.
Yeah.
Very
which is so cool. And he's so real about it too. He's like, honestly, I probably could have handled them better without like using the extra abilities. But hey, it's good practice. Like,
yeah, he talks to Silly. He's like, I have to practice. I have to be better at this. Yeah. Like, I've been given it for a reason. And I love that he's just like, I'll practice. I'll make it better. Like, he's like, oh, maybe it'll come over time. And he's like, I can practice. He knows what happened with the spear. And he knows that was something he's like, he was terrible at it to begin with. But he drilled every day, and he became the best there was.
Yep.
And that's that's the person he is, the discipline.
Does that not just make you want to find something in your life to just like make I'm going to practice this and nail it.
Be the best.
Like, be the best. Like, I don't know, this book just inspires me.
It is inspirational every time.
I love it.
His storyline in general is so inspiring.
I love it. So is there anything else from the Kaladin section that you wanted to chat about?
What a reveal right before the part ends.
Dude, I keep missing the most massive parts. I'm like, let's move on.
You just like to set me up for these big moments to bring up, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
I know, it's great.
Right at the end of the part, Amaram comes to camp.
I was disgusted.
But I
loved it.
He's the worst. Nobody
I
likes
hate
this
it,
guy.
but I love it.
P90X? Yeah. Okay. Anyway. But so he comes into camp and you're just like, they are going to see each other. He's Dalinar's guard and he's entertaining Amram the guest. Like, this confrontation is coming and it's going to be huge. People are going to explode. Who knows what's going to happen? But it's like, that's how he ends the part and just kills me. Like, that's the last couple of words. It was Amaram. It's like, ends.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I thought that Amaram was part of Sadeas's crew anyways. How does that work?
What do you mean part of Sadeas's crew?
Well, because he was fighting for Sadeas's lands. Remember?
So you're saying he's subordinate to Sadeas?
Well, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I thought that's what, like, he was under Sadeas because he was fighting for Sadeas's lands as one of his officers. And so I don't think it's like a big, ooh, that'll be an interesting conflict. I think it's just more like, I don't know, just it's interesting dynamics of like everything. Like they're fighting against each other, but they're still friends with other high princes and everything. And he comes in with Dalinar.
Amaram still has a reputation for being a very honorable person. Kaladin would disagree with that.
Disgusting.
But I wonder if Dalinar's relying on that and saying, like, this reputation, like, I want to work with this guy because he's reputable,
Yeah. That was really crazy. I don't even know what to say about it yet because, like,
that leads to so many more twists that I'm excited about in the next part. It's going to be wild. The Shard Blade.
Oh, yeah, because of
the people that are in the Shattered Plains.
This whole comment
it's all going to be very interesting.
Oh my gosh, dude. Yeah, well, and it's just the irony of the moment. Like, Dalinar's like, I heard you won a shard blade. And then he and he comes up with a story.
We're just sitting there on the edge of our seats like, he did.
Yes, he did. And did I don't know why, like, does not Amaram recognize Kaladin right away?
He's not. That's literally the moment we were stopped right before.
Okay, I know. We got to find out in the next part.
He's talking to Dalinar. Kaladin runs in, sees him. Part ends, and that's it.
Kaladin just falls over.
We don't get the reaction.
We don't get the reaction.
He will be there though, and he will have to guard Dalinar, and he will see Amaram, and we will definitely get that reaction.
I know. I'm so stoked for that. It was nuts.
But it's been a crazy part. Like the main character part has been awesome.
Okay, last thing I briefly want to go over is just the interludes that we covered it as well. We learned a little bit about the Parshendi.
Yep.
We get Eshonai's perspective for the first time.
What a letdown from Kaladin, Amaram, and you're just like, let's just talk about some traders, like some interesting story
what
about
a
shoemaker.
These guys this was nut stories, dude.
I know, but
you're setting me up this time.
Yeah, that's fair. They're good stories, but it's just sometimes that cut, just like,
I don't know. Yeah, it was hard, but it was interesting though.
So fast.
The interludes, I think were interesting because we learned for the first time about the Parshendi and their different forms.
Okay,
and that even the dull form Parshmen are the same as Parshendi, but they're just in different form.
Yes.
And so that was fascinating, and that they have their last shard bearer is what we learned, is that Eshonai is the last shard bearer of the Parshendi. And then we also learn is that their numbers really are dwindling. Like they didn't expect this war to go on for so long, and for some reason that they thought the Alethi would just kind of peace out after a while and get bored. But they didn't, because they were fighting for the riches of the
they got distracted. Like, if it had been solely about vengeance, I think it would have ended much earlier. They would have changed tactics, but then halfway through, the high princes are like, the new king, he's just doing whatever. Let's just get rich.
Yep. So, crazy. Other parts that were crazy, we don't have to get into them too much because we're getting a little bit long in this, but just the YM, is it M?
M?
I will call him M.
Sure.
It's all about him. Just kidding. He's the shoemaker.
Yep.
And his story is really fascinating because we get a look into him, and he is helping poor children or people off the streets and making them shoes so that they can continue having a job and not have to die because they're able to have means to feed themselves. And in this moment, he's able to heal the boy because the boy, he realizes, has a cut. And what he does, though, is he's really slick about this. He pulls out a sphere and some like antiseptic or something like that to heal the boy, and then uses some sort of radiant power, it seems like, to heal the boy. And he talks to some Spren at the same time, and the boy leaves, and then some creepy dude that we learn more about later comes in and kills him for it.
Wild. It's a crazy time on Roshar.
Very crazy time. We're like, wow, it does seem like there's more people with powers, but something else is going on. Like there are different
forces
at work.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. And I should mention he doesn't kill him because he's a Radiant. He says that he kills him because of justice. Because at some point, this guy in his long past, like, accidentally killed someone. He's like, you deserve to die. It's just crazy because this guy just seems like the nicest old man.
He's helping people.
He's just helping people. This sweet old man dies.
It's a powerful story.
I know, dude.
Powerful interlude.
The last part I want to mention is we do see the introduction of Risen. Actually, not. We've met her once. She's the merchant.
Briefly in a separate interlude.
Yes, in one of the first book.
Yep.
And
with her Bobsk.
Bobsk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where we learn about how she falls off of, I imagine, as a gigantic turtle.
Makes
sense.
It's
like just this gigantic island with a shell and a head. Only can imagine as a gigantic turtle.
Yeah. And you haven't seen Avatar?
Nope.
Oh.
I know.
That's like, it's just,
There's a gigantic turtle?
Yeah, with they're floating island cities.
No, on turtles?
Turtles, yes.
He ripped this straight from Avatar.
When you see Avatar, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Okay, well,
and see a little more about that.
I'm planning on watching the live action first, and then we'll do a reaction of that. And then
then you watch the whole series, and we'll do reaction.
Yeah, that's gonna be. But as you didn't know this before, but the Dawn Shard, when we read that eventually, that will be based on Risen's story.
A lot of stuff on our list to read,
which is so fun. So it was fun to get into her story again. It is. She's the main character. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I'm very excited for you in that. But so that's what we read in the interludes. Great series of books. We're really excited to get into this second book.
We're really kicking off a new reaction series. What we did with the first Way of King series, we had 4 parts, individual reactions of each part, and then a final review. We'll do the same thing here. Words of Radiance.
4 parts.
4 parts. Started with part 1 today. Each week we'll come up with a new part, kind of in our podcasty version of our reactions, which I think is super cool. Best way to listen to these podcasts is if you're reading along with it. Definitely the best way. Or if you've read it recently. Yeah. So please do so.
You've got to read them because book 5 is coming. It is coming.
Absolutely
December 2024. We have a date. And so you got to be ready with us. And so we're getting ready, and it's going to be a blast along the way.
We're excited to take you along the journey. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already so you can join that journey. And if you want to see the podcast version, check that out basically anywhere you listen to podcasts. But that's it. That's it for today, and we'll see you in the next one.